What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tones Overthinks It, the show where I think too much to make up for the people who don't think at all. So...
people keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
So some of you may or may not remember, I encountered some rather unsavory business last week involving everyone's least favorite walking tumor, Accountability for All, aka Joshua Abrams. You know, the one where he decided to go to a library and then follow around, harass, and make terrible accusations against a 75-year-old man?
Asshole. Major asshole.
It goes without saying that Abrams was most definitely out of line here, as he was accusing this man of having his pants down in front of a window looking over the playground and calling him a predator. Something that literally everyone can clearly see was not happening. Now, I kept my coverage of that incident short, mainly because out of respect for those involved, and possibly due to the fact that I was prepared to punch my monitor in, but I also held back a lot of things because, unlike Mr. Abrams, I actually have some sense of journalistic integrity even when I'm not trying to be a journalist, and want to make sure I have all the facts before I proceed to tear him a new one. So for those among you who have not watched the original video and consider yourself lucky, the police at one point did in fact arrive, in which Abrams proceeded to push his narrative and show them the video footage he recorded. Now, while I do pride myself as being a man of logic, reason, integrity, sometimes it's nice to cut loose and just be incredibly petty.
Could you do me a favor? Could you tell me what that is?
Which what?
That thing on the wall?
The air conditioner?
No, the thing all the way across the wall, that big thing. What is that?
What do you think it is?
I'm asking you.
It's a flag.
Okay, but what's in the middle of that? Do you see it?
Absolutely.
What is that?
It's a thin blue line flag.
Oh, that should be taken down immediately.
Doesn't look like our flag.
It's not.
I mean, I love our flag. I have it all over me. It just looks a little bit. One of these things are not like the other.
Right.
Do you think the soldiers, our brave men and women of our armed forces who paid the last measure of devotion for this country, when they were going down, do you think they pledged allegiance to this flag or to that flag?
So tell me then, Abrams, what is this then? Why do you have a yellow American flag on your shirt? Are you perhaps pissing on America? Do you think that the soldiers gave their last act of devotion and their lives for that flag? Furthermore, do you think that those soldiers would appreciate that they lay down their lives so that you can do stuff like this?
Listen, you know what you can... I'll answer your question. Where do you think you can take those rules of conduct and stick them? Use your imagination, honey. That's where I want you to stick those rules of conduct, all right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm gonna leave you with this, right? Firstly, I'd like you to do better, okay? Because you did very poorly today. Secondly, the next time you see a free American walking on American soil in an American building exhibiting the very First Amendment of the United States Constitution that brave men and women fought and died for, the moment you think to try and interfere with that, I want you to go find another line of work that's out of the public sector. Do you understand what I'm saying? Am I coming across loud and clear to you today?
You filthy, rotten, yellow son of a bitch!
So getting back on point, Abrams showed the video to police and they took down a report. After which Abrams proceeded to go home and pat himself on the back, or whatever he does to give himself self-gratification, I dare not imagine it, and proceeded to say a lot of stuff like this.
With all the disturbing components of this story, one of the most disturbing is the library's reaction to what happened. As soon as we reported to the library staff that we saw this man with his pants down, their first reaction was not to protect the patrons, the children, or the staff. Their first reaction was to protect the offender. Despite looking at video evidence, the same video evidence that you saw right now, they still refuse to admit that this man did something wrong. They refuse to contact authorities. But they did do something. They whisked this man away, hid him in an authorized area for employees only, and kept him there, out of view of our cameras. And they allowed him to leave right when law enforcement arrived. Despite library staff being adamant that the man could have done nothing wrong, police took a look at the video and realized almost immediately that something here was wrong. However, they were not able to apprehend, question, or identify this man because the Acton Public Library in Acton, Massachusetts actively hid him and aided in his escape. Nothing in the world made sense to us as to why they would assist him and keep him from the arm of justice after doing something so terrible.
Okay, how do I sum this up? You know what? Actually, I think our legal team will be better suited to respond to this.
Everything that guy just says, bull. Thank you.
You see, Abrams, in journalism, there's something called double sourcing, in which case you're required to take information that you've received from a tip and verify it through a separate independent source. And while I have been in contact with the staff of the library who's confirmed to me that the old man didn't do anything wrong, I decided I needed a second source to further verify this. And that is why I have in my possession the incident report from the Acton Police Department. So strap yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to find this interesting. Officer Taylor, one of the officers that you showed the footage to, Abrams, had this to say in his report. On August 12, 2023, I was working an assigned 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift in marked cruiser number 3. At approximately 11:30 a.m., Officer Symington and I were dispatched to the Acton Memorial Library at 486 Main Street for a report of First Amendment auditors following a gentleman around yelling for him to take his pants off. Now, in total fairness and transparency, that is actually not what Abrams and his associate were saying in the video. However, given the fact that you were following the man around yelling and obsessing over his pants and whether they were off or on, I can understand how someone might misinterpret that. Upon my arrival, I located a male and female party outside the main entrance of the library. They both had mobile phones and appeared to be recording a male party who was arguing with them. I approached and had the unassociated male step away. I asked the two what was going on. The male party first identified himself as Good Citizen. He later stated his name was Josh Abrams. The female party he was with did not identify herself. Abrams stated that he goes around doing First Amendment auditing stuff. He explained that he was inside the library and was walking around filming. He stated that as he was on the second floor, he was walking towards the back northernmost corner of the library, which the windows overlooked the playground. As Abrams approached the back corner, a male party stood up and appeared to be pulling up his pants and began adjusting his belt. Abrams confronted the gentleman and followed him through the library while questioning why he was pulling his pants up. Abrams stated that it seemed like staff then assisted the party in getting away from him. Abrams stated that he did not see if the male party had exposed himself, but found it very suspicious that the man was adjusting his pants just as he was approaching him. I asked Abrams if he had this recorded, which he did. Abrams showed me the video. In the video, Abrams is approaching the back corner. As he does so, an older white male appears to be standing up from the chair facing away from the playground. The male party was wearing a red button-down shirt with white stripes, tan shorts, white socks, and white sneakers. The male is adjusting his pants and tightening his belt. Abrams and the female party he was with found it odd that the front of the man's shirt was tucked in and the back was not. The male then puts on a white hat, grabs his newspaper, and walks away. Abrams followed him. Shortly later, the male party is walking in between two bookshelves and appears to be continuously pulling up his pants. Abrams and the female party he was with seemed shocked that the male could not find a restroom to adjust himself. I gave Abrams my business card and he stated he would email me the clips and a still shot from the incident. Abrams stated that he now planned on leaving the library and walked out as we did. Officer Symington had spoken with library staff who identified the older gentleman as... They stated that he is a regular at the library and he has never caused an issue. I was able to locate through CJIS and Sergeant Heffernan was able to locate contact information for him. I contacted by phone. He stated that he was just sitting down reading the newspaper when he noticed two people walking around filming people. He stated that as they approached him, he got up to walk away and had to adjust his belt. I asked if he had exposed himself. He laughed and stated that he is 75 years old. He just goes to the library to read the paper. He stated that the librarians also told him that there was nothing they could do and to recommend that he just try to ignore them. There are no charges at this time. The videos and photos from Abrams are attached. So what does this report tell us? It tells us that the officers heard what Abrams says he claims he saw, watched the video, and reported that they saw something completely different, consistent with what the staff at the library and we saw ourselves. Furthermore, the library staff has told me that the investigation had practically closed as soon as it began, and if we look at the report's status, it states clearly that no crime was involved. Now, before Abrams or anyone else wants to claim that perhaps the investigation is still ongoing and the man is still a suspect, I present this supplemental narrative that was provided in Officer Taylor's report, which was submitted 5 days later. Officer Taylor states, on August 17, 2023, I was working an assigned 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. shift in marked cruiser number 3. At approximately 9:08 a.m., I contacted by phone to follow up on the incident at the library. I asked if he had received any harassing telephone calls or had any unwanted guests. He stated that he has not. He did seem a bit nervous that people would be able to obtain his phone number. He stated that he does not use the internet, have any social media, and only his friends and family have his phone number. I advised him if he did begin to receive calls or if anyone showed up at his home to contact the police so we could follow up on it. No further information at this time. I don't know about the rest of you, but that doesn't exactly sound like something an officer would be doing when following up with a suspect who's under investigation. Could it be perhaps that in the time since Abrams published his video on the incident, the Acton Public Library and its staff has been receiving a considerable amount of hate and false accusations? And they are perhaps following up with him because they are now concerned that he too may be subject to possible hate, threats, and accusations. So I think it's safe to conclude, by all the information we found here, that any investigation into the elderly man had ended as soon as it started, and at this point the police are more concerned with how his fans could be targeting and threatening everyone who was involved. Which brings us to the most critical point of this video. Note the date on the report. This incident occurred on Saturday, August the 12th. Abrams uploaded his video on Monday, August the 14th, 48 hours after the fact. This investigation ended in less than 24 hours. Abrams knows that the police found no evidence from his videos that could implicate this old man in any of the claims he made. Abrams knows that the police did identify him. Abrams knows that in fact the staff at the library provided his identity to police. At this point, everything he says in that video, we know, is a false allegation. And yet, Abrams still published it. Abrams still edited in his big speech explaining the events, talking about how the Acton Library helped a predator avoid justice. He knows that's not true. He knows the police don't see it that way. And yet he still did it. And he continued to do it.
What's going on, guys? At the Wellesley Public Library, not to be confused with the Acton Public Library, where they hide people caught with their pants down. I mean, they might do it here. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just saying this is not to be confused with Acton, where they do that nasty stuff.
I should also mention that that very same day that video was uploaded, Abrams also streamed claiming that the major media had picked up the story about the old man and that he received word from the Acton Police Department that he was facing charges.
Wrong!
Not exactly sure how that would work, considering no major media outlet has picked up the story, much less told it in your narrative, and the fact that the report, 3 days after the fact, still says that no crime has been committed. Gee, you almost wonder perhaps he realized this, and that's why he took that stream down the next day. So there you have it. Abrams, of course, lied his ass off during the incident, but even after the incident was over, even after knowing that he was wrong, he still proceeded to double down on it, and triple down on it. All the while, his viewers, the ones he doesn't silence in his comment section when they even utter the slightest skepticism of what he said he saw, or say that he may have gone too far, those fans are lobbing unwarranted threats, accusations, and hatred towards innocent people. Abrams, you need to rein your stupid fans in, take down that disgusting video, and issue a retraction and public apology to everyone that you falsely accused, slandered, and defamed. Because if you don't, Abrams, I'm not going away. I will make sure anyone who doesn't know about this will know. I will make sure everyone who does know never forgets. I will not rest until there are so many people up your ass that you're going to need poster 7 tattooed to the roof of your mouth. Because what you did, this isn't about rights, this isn't about policies, this isn't about cameras, this isn't about the Constitution. This is straight up what is absolute right and what is absolute wrong. And you were absolutely wrong. But then again, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what you see here and you want to see even more in the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts down in the comment section. I always love to read them. Till next time.
Now, please keep in mind that this person has an expectation of innocence over guilt until his day in court, if that day should come.
Yeah, and because you never got your day in court, we can only say that you were once accused of domestic battery and assault. But I'm sure given how well behaved you are when interacting with women, these charges cannot possibly be true.
No, I am a Michigan, and I will not be spoken to that way by anyone.
You will be shushed that way.